What's up, guys? Welcome back to Chris TV. And I got some good news to share with y'all. So, of course, I watched the videos and all that shit already. Well, stuff already. But, yeah, I'm a little sick. I'm at work, but it's some good leads. I don't want to share the details too much. I probably won't be able to review this video like how I usually do. But, share, like, subscribe. All right, here go the video.
Come up today that he was down here in this park not very far away. We checked our lead out. It is confirmed. The parents were down here 2 times. It was September 1st through the 3rd and September 6th through the 8th. They registered to stay at this park. They were registered, went through the gate. They're on camera. They were here. And they did enter. They did come here. Allegedly, what we're hearing is 2 people left on the 8th. 3 people came in on the 6th, and 2 people left on the 8th. I think he's been here for sure. So there's a lot of little islands around the area where we're at that he could get to on a canoe. We talked to the caretakers today of the islands. They said he could be out here, that he was here for sure, not over in the swamp.
It's been more than a week since anybody last saw Brian Laundrie. For days and hours since then, federal and state and local law enforcement agencies are looking for basically a needle in a haystack, searching the nature preserve that's tens of thousands of acres for any sign of him. Investigators believe he may know what happened to Gabby Petito. Investigators just ruling her death a homicide in the last 24 hours. Fox 13's Evan Axelbank is live at the family home tonight in Northport. Evan, give us the very latest from the search this evening.
Well, police are not being specific as to what they are turning up, but they do say they'll be back at the reserve tomorrow morning. All the while, her family waits for justice, and the nation wonders, where is Brian Laundrie? Police video shows canines using their sense of smell for someone who hasn't been seen in a week.
They're motivated and they're hungry to find Brian Laundrie.
Their drones, buggies, and airboats pulled out after combing the Venice side of the reserve for a second day. Dive boats also joined them to no avail. They've also spent 2 days at the Northport side over the weekend. His parents told police he went there to hike a week ago, which they said Friday was the last time they saw him.
We are trying to cover every acre in this preserve. It's rough out there, it's hot, it's wet.
Neighbors of the Laundrie said today that the family appeared to go on a camping trip in a new camper about a week after Brian got back to Florida in Gabby's van on September 1st. They now know that Gabby would soon be reported as missing and that Brian would be considered a person of interest.
Did you think there was anything unusual about that?
Well, to
After
me,
we knew they were missing, yeah.
As neighbors deal with the constant media presence, other Northport residents, even those who did not know either family, are contributing flowers to a memorial that is growing by the day at City Hall.
As a mother myself, I can't imagine.
it's very sickening. I want to say to the family, prayers go out to you guys.
Included in those prayers are hope that they will get justice. Police haven't used the word suspect in describing Laundrie, but they have also not said they're investigating anyone else in her death. Every day the search goes on is another day questions will persist about when justice might come for the young woman.
Hello, and good morning.
Who was trying to make a name for herself.
Live now from Fox, continuing our coverage of the Gabby Petito case and the search for her 23-year-old fiance, Brian Laundrie, today officially marking 2 weeks since the last sighting of Laundrie as reported by his parents. And today, Gabby Petito's family is scheduled to speak out in a press conference for the first time since it was confirmed that the remains found in Wyoming were those of Gabby Petito. So I do want to head out to Northport, Florida, where we are being joined by Fox 13 Tampa's Kelly Cowan as she continues to follow this story. Kelly, good morning. What can you tell us?
Good morning to you. Well, that press conference held today at the Petito and Schmidt family's attorney's office. That's in New York, and that's going to be at 1 o'clock. We know the family's participating in this press conference. We don't know exactly why they've called this conference or what they plan to say, but they did say after her remains were found more than a week ago that they did plan on speaking out at a point when they'd had time to mourn her loss. And as we saw, they'd had a full week, and we saw some of her family members speaking at her funeral on Sunday. Now it appears that they'd like to address the media, address the public one-on-one. But in the meantime, we've also had a statement put out by Brian Laundrie's family attorney, and essentially this one countering some public sentiment and backlash that's been going on right now and trying to set the record straight. The attorney saying that essentially the Laundries, Brian's parents, are not at all responsible for his disappearance. They weren't helping him in any way, and trying to say that they're trying to help law enforcement and interested in finding their son as well. So Brian's parents specifically do not know where he is, according to their attorney, and he also said that the speculation that they assisted him in leaving the home is just wrong. Now, we also know that the FBI came to the home on Sunday. His attorney is the one that said that his parents were helping the FBI agents and allowing them to take items of Brian so that they could get that DNA sample from them. We spoke to USF, University of South Florida, forensic analyst over the weekend as well, and tried to get a little more information from him on what exactly they're planning to do with that DNA sample. He said it's going to be very useful in the search for Brian Laundrie. If remains are found, they'll be able to do a DNA match on those. If he's been leaving behind certain items, they'll be able to try to match those and determine if he's been somewhere. But it's not going to be very helpful in the actual autopsy being performed on Gabby right now in order to determine her cause of death, because, of course, Brian and Gabby lived together. They were living together here at this house in Northport. They were also on the road together for several months in that van, so it would not be unusual for his DNA to be on her body if they do find that. So what he was saying is that DNA useful for finding him, determining whether they found him, not necessarily for the cause of death, which they are still trying to determine in Gabby's case.
Yeah, and I know, Kelly, obviously you just said we don't know exactly what will be spoken about, but I do recall them saying we will have a press conference when Gabby is returned home. So is that a possibility that her body could be back?
That could be a figurative statement as well. As of yesterday, the FBI saying that they were still holding the remains, and as we know, a full autopsy report has not yet been released. So it is our understanding that that autopsy is still being performed, and it's also our understanding that this will take some time. Remember, her body was out there for a length of time. At most conservative estimates, maybe even 2 weeks. It could have been even longer than that. So her body, of course, found about a week ago, and we know that she likely was killed sometime in the time frame of the last week of August. So there is some time and some exposure that her body would have undergone out there, being left in the wilderness like that. They're also going to have to take their time to determine, especially if the wounds that she suffered are not obvious, what exactly killed her, what the best estimate is on that. And so it is, as we've been told the entire time by forensic analysts, going to take a couple weeks at least in order to determine a cause of death. Now, meanwhile, out here, we do have somewhat of a makeshift memorial that people have been leaving. We've had several nights where protesters have shown up, last night with bullhorns, in fact, trying to put pressure on the Laundrie family. Again, the public sentiment that people, that they are not helping law enforcement with the search for Brian Laundrie. And so you see this little makeshift memorial that's been building. Of course, this was Gabby's home as well prior to her death. She lived here for over a year, according to her family. And you see here, flowers have been delivered. There's a pumpkin on the ground here. Of course, her last social media post in late August included a pumpkin saying Happy Halloween. You also see Justice for Gabby posters being left. I will note that this is on the bare edge of the laundry property. So technically not on their property. This is on the neighbor's property. And our Fox News crews at night have been telling us that people have just been delivering flowers from all over. So they've been sending flower delivery services out here with just an address. And they've said it's pretty interesting to see a delivery person show up with an address, not know exactly what they're supposed to do, and then see this memorial. And that's where they've been leaving things here on the corner of the Bryan Laundrie family property.
Yeah, it's absolutely tragic. See, I even saw a poster that you just panned to that put Brian's face there and it says murderer. Now, what do people in the neighborhood, Kelly, have to say about the fact that today marks 2 weeks since his parents claim that's the last time that they've seen or heard from him?
Well, there is a lot of frustration in this neighborhood that not only is all of this going on, because of course it does affect them, but a lot of outpouring of sympathy, empathy for Gabby and her family and everything that they've gone through. And there's frustration that, you know, they're feeling that the Laundrie family hasn't exactly been helpful with law enforcement. And not
people in the neighborhood, Kelly, have to say about the fact that today marks 2 weeks since his parents claim that's the last time that they've seen or heard from him?
Well, there is a lot of frustration in this neighborhood that not only is all of this going on, because of course it does affect them, but a lot of outpouring of sympathy, empathy for Gabby and her family and everything that they've gone through. And there's frustration that, you know, they're feeling that the Laundrie family hasn't exactly been helpful with law enforcement. And not only is that allowing a potential killer to elude justice, but that's also creating a big circus around their homes. Media here for the past now going on 2.5 weeks or so, 3 weeks. And so I'm pretty sure that they have had just about enough of it. But as I said yesterday, they too want justice for Gabby Petito.
All right. Well, Fox 13 Tampa's Kelly Cowan out there for us in Northport, Florida. Again, everybody, you can tune into our show at 1 p.m. Eastern time to hear those remarks from Gabby Petito's family. Kelly, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
For us, life is about winning, but it's also